China Uncensored. There are some pretty shocking rumors about what's happening inside Chinese preschools. Let's just say this episode is not suitable for children. Welcome back to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell. Over the past 40 years, China has seen stunning economic growth. And for some people in China's growing middle class, it can feel like everything is great. And there's absolutely no downside to living in a country where they're allowed to make money as long as they keep their mouths shut on politics. I mean, does politics really affect our lives? So it comes as a shock to many in the middle class that the same authoritarian regime that's okay with arresting anyone who speaks out and savagely torturing Falun Gong practitioners is also okay with letting horrible things happen to people they love, like their children. I take you now to the RYB kindergarten and daycare in Beijing, an expensive school targeting upper middle class families. According to the school motto, it's where children take their first step to a colorful life. Why, look at all the eager parents flocking to enroll their kids. Except that's not why they're there. They're protesting.
Police are investigating allegations of horrific abuse that went on inside. The youngest victims, only 3 years old. Parents are accusing teachers and staff at RYB kindergarten of sexually abusing their children, making them stand naked as punishment, stabbing them with needles, or making them swallow suspicious white pills.
Wow. And when I was in kindergarten, I complained about nap time.
After hearing from other parents, I asked my child. My child said they take 2 white pills after lunch every day. They go to sleep after taking the pills.
I wish I could say that was the worst of it. But besides those accusations, the most troubling accusation comes from the mother of a 3-year-old who spoke with 10 Cent News. The parent says that her child told her that kids at the kindergarten were given regular health checkups by an uncle and grandpa doctor in which they were made to stand naked while one of the doctors was nude as well. Wow, that makes Harvey Weinstein seem practically like a normal sexual predator. And even a kindergartner knows that when Uncle Doctor starts taking off his clothes, that's not how you play doctor. According to one allegation, a teacher threatened a student by saying, "I can hear whatever you say and see whatever you do because I have a very, very, very long telescope that can reach your home." I mean, it is kind of believable. China is a surveillance state after all. And you know what? I wish I could say those horrible allegations were it. But there are also allegations that the Chinese military was involved, which sounds outrageous, but it struck enough of a nerve that the Chinese military actually responded. And they never respond. A Chinese military commissar issued an extraordinary statement adamantly denying rumors that People's Liberation Army officers were implicated in the alleged sexual abuse. Those who spread the rumors, he warned, would be pursued for legal culpability. Now, I wish I could say that was it. But no, there's more. See this Chinese official visiting an RYB kindergarten in November 2016? That's Meng Jianzhu. He was China's top security chief and a powerful member of former Chinese leader Jiang Zemin's political faction, which opposes current Chinese leader Xi Jinping. Meng Jianzhu had praised RYB education, and there are even rumors he may have even profited from it somehow. So there are rumors floating around that all the negative publicity about RYB is actually part of a strategic political takedown of Meng Jianzhu, and that it's tied to high-level CCP power struggles. But even that's not all of it, because authorities have reacted to all of this by, you guessed it, telling the media to cover it up. As if that would make the problem disappear. Really? If you can't see it, it doesn't exist? I think someone needs to go back to kindergarten. But there's a silver lining to all the sharp needles. At least authorities have arrested 2 people in the scandal. Wait, what's that, Shelley? Oh, okay. Apparently, one woman who was arrested was not some teacher accused of stabbing her students with needles, force-feeding them pills, or making them play doctor. She was actually detained for spreading rumors about the abuse. As state-run media The Global Times writes, rumor mongers and those that maliciously spread their rumors must face punishment and be held accountable according to law. Now I know what you're thinking. Spreading rumors doesn't really seem like the worst part of all of this. Well, here's where it gets even more complicated. After days of investigation, the Beijing police released a statement saying that they found no evidence of sexual abuse at the kindergarten. They said they arrested one teacher who had been pricking kids with needles when they wouldn't take naps. Yeah, what kind of horrible teacher thinks that poking children with sharp objects would help them sleep? But police also said the rumors of children being fed pills and forced to play doctor were fabricated by parents who are now willing to apologize. Sounds like the police are covering up something, right? But in this case, they might actually be correct. Some of the disturbing accusations, like the kids being injected with unknown substances, are commonly seen in Chinese urban legends, like how when you were a kid, people always warned you about someone passing out apples with razor blades in them during Halloween. And this wouldn't be the first time that fear about child abuse in preschools triggered mass panic. It even happened in America. During the 1980s and 90s, there was a string of highly publicized cases about daycare child abuse in California. It made the national news. Accusations of sex abuse, satanic rituals, even drinking giraffe blood in front of children.
Authorities now believe that at least 60 young children were victimized, and that the ultimate number could well be much greater.
The evidence was based primarily on interviews with the children. Several daycare teachers were thrown in prison, only to be found innocent and released years later with a big fat apology and millions of dollars in compensation for wrongful imprisonment. It turns out child testimonies are unreliable because kids often tell you the answers they think you want to hear. I mean, adults do that too, I guess. But when bad stuff might be happening to your kids, you freak out. It's what you do. Which is why, when it comes to RYB education in China, even a seed of truth can quickly snowball into mass hysteria. And some of the accusations are apparently true. The needle stabbing part, for example. I mean, there's photos of the needle marks. And this is not the first time scandal has hit RYB. RYB Education operates 1,800 kindergartens and daycares across China. It's worth over $750 million. It's also listed on the New York Stock Exchange. And as they say, mo money, mo problems with rampant child abuse. In 2015, 4 teachers at an RYB Education kindergarten in Siping, northeast China, were charged with using sewing needles to jab more than 20 children on their heads, mouths, and limbs. Okay, seriously, what is it with the sewing needles? And earlier this year, at another RYB Education kindergarten, a teacher was caught on video kicking a child. So there's already widespread public sentiment that something might be wrong at RYB Education. But with some of the more recent accusations, the evidence is harder to find. There was video of a toddler telling his parents that his teachers gave him white pills to make him sleep. But that video has been taken offline. And it was only a child talking to his parents, not first-hand evidence. That doesn't mean it's not true. There's just a lack of evidence. And the allegations of sexual abuse at this point are also still just allegations, ones that police are now dismissing. Police say that independent doctors found no physical evidence of sexual abuse in the kids. And according to state-run media, the police checked the 113-hour-long recovered surveillance footage and didn't find any evidence of anyone committing child sexual abuse. Of course, I don't exactly trust state-run media, and neither do a lot of people in China. And that is exactly the problem. Under the Communist Party, authorities have covered up so many scandals for so long and issued so many censorship directives that Chinese citizens are a little skeptical when reporting on an issue is suddenly squashed and any online discussion is heavily censored. In the environment the CCP has created, it's almost impossible to tell what is true and what is false. So it's basically like one of those choose-your-own-adventure novels, except it's choose-your-own-conspiracy. Do you believe there was sexual abuse? Turn to page 61. Do you think the military was involved? Turn to page 84. Did this involve high-level power struggles within the CCP? Go directly to jail. The public outcry over all of this is totally understandable because there's so little trust that authorities will expose abuse even if they find it. Since the story became public, the Ministry of Education has vowed to put an inspector in every kindergarten in Beijing, plus launch a much larger investigation. But that's just not very comforting to parents who, understandably, now believe the authorities are constantly lying to them. And child abuse does happen in China. Since 2010, news media and internet sites have reported more than 60 such cases of physical abuse at Chinese kindergartens and child care facilities. State-run Xinhua has reported 968 cases of sexual abuse against children were recorded nationwide between 2013 and 2015, involving at least 1,790 children, with many remaining unreported. In 2013, the LA Times reported that in just 3 weeks, 9 cases of sexual abuse in Chinese schools involving more than 30 children have brought the neglected crime to light. And while those reports also caused outrage at the time, a lot of those cases happened to poor people. But this time, it's happening to the upper middle class, people who for a long time were pretty happy with the system that let them make money and live comfortable lives. And there's a widespread belief that if anyone gets in trouble with the authorities, well, it's because they did something wrong. Just keep your head down and trust the system. But now, there are rumors of terrible things happening to their own children. Authorities tell them they're investigating, but the parents think they're covering it up. And maybe they are. It's impossible to know. And who can they turn to now? This is what the CCP system of censorship and control does to society. The question is this scandal enough to actually affect their rule? Or will it all blow over next week? Too bad we can't flip to the end to see. That would be cheating. So what do you think? Leave your comments below. Thanks for watching this episode of China Uncensored. Once again, I'm your host, Chris Chappell. See you next time. Every time we cover a controversial topic like this, YouTube reduces our ad revenue. So to keep China Uncensored afloat, we rely on direct support from you, our viewers. Please click the orange button to visit Patreon, where you can pledge $1 or more per episode, and you'll get some cool rewards too. Go there now and support China Uncensored. Thank you.